Welcome to the Responsible Citizenship, Responsible Leadership Program, brought to you by Dr. Kiiza Emmanuel Aliba, the Justice and Peace Secretary of the Uganda Episcopal Conference. Thank you for watching, for viewing our program, and for loving the Uganda Catholic Television Good News for All. This program of responsible citizenship is intended to make you, our dear viewers, understand the importance of our faith. The importance of our faith, but the lived faith. We go to churches so often. Every Sunday we go to church. But then thereafter, what next? How does our faith impact on us? How does our faith, how does it make us better citizens, responsible leaders? This is the program, and we have gone through a number of topics. We have gone through the importance of leadership, the importance of work, the importance of leisure. And now we come with another very good and exciting topic of responsible parenting. Responsible parenting. Because of this, I have not come alone, because responsible parenting means the father, the mother, and the child. And we are here, the three of us. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, Dad.
Mommy, how do you feel coming to Uganda Catholic Television for your very first time?
I feel so much humbled, but also happy to be here presenting this program of responsible parenting.
Can you introduce yourself to our dear viewers?
Dear viewers of Catholic Television, Good News for All, I am called Mrs. Mary Aliba Kiiza Amoti, the mother of 5. I'm happy to be here to present to you, together with my dear husband and our lovely daughter, today's program of responsible parenting.
Yes, our daughter. How do you feel being at the Uganda Catholic Television for your very first time?
Being my very first time, I think I feel thrilled, overjoyed, and all.
Yes, can you introduce yourself to our fellow viewers?
I am Akugizibwe Mary Immaculate, a student at Maryhill High School, the second born of Dr. Kiiza Emmanuel Aliba and the wife, Mrs. Kiiza Mary Aliba. Yeah, senior 3, Maryhill High School.
Do you have a word for your school? Because they are all watching you here.
Yeah, so the people watching, mostly the ones of Maryhill High School, I'm here to share with you a few points about responsible parenthood. In this case, I am the child, so we shall interact there.
Yes, our fellow viewers of Uganda Catholic Television, Good News for All, when we talk about responsible parenting, we are quite serious on this matter. Parenthood is not a joke. Parenthood is purely an issue that all of us have to get involved into, especially we, the husbands. somewhere, somehow, we have done it wrong. And because we have done it wrong, society is what it is now because of irresponsible parenthood. Irresponsible parenthood. Parenthood should be one of our main businesses every day, every now and again. We have very many businesses, especially us, the husbands. We have so many businesses. And we tend to concentrate on those businesses. The businesses that bring us money. The businesses that make sure that, that help us to be okay. The businesses that help us to take our children to the best schools. Yes, get involved into those businesses. It is very important. But there is a business of parenthood. And parenthood, we can appoint a manager to manage our businesses. But it is very difficult to appoint a manager to manage the business of parenthood. It's very difficult, almost impossible. So we come here to see how we help each other into bringing up families that will give us responsible citizens, that will give us responsible leaders. We tend to have neglected the business of the family, many of us. We tend to have neglected the business of parenthood, many of us. And it is time now we are calling upon you to come back. Come back to the business of family. Come back to the business of parenthood. It is nice to have a wife. I am a husband to a wife. Here is my beautiful wife. It's nice to have a wife. And very nice to have children. Here is my wonderful daughter. It is nice. But keeping a wife. Now, how many years are we in marriage?
19.
19 years in marriage. We are 19 years in marriage. And when you look at her, it's as if we have just gotten married. This is not by accident. We have both worked for it. And God has blessed us with wonderful children. Today you only see one. Possibly another day you will see all. But every day at our home is a day of joy, is a day of love, is a day of, every day is a happy day at home. Why? Because we have consciously planned for it and we have consciously accepted it. I say she is my wonderful wife and a mother to the children. But I think she may have gone through a lot of, challenges. Having me as Dr. Aliba, have a wonderful home with Maria, she may be having much more to tell you about our parenthood, the life we have gone through, to be what I am, to be our family, to be what it is now. Maria, may you like to share with our viewers?
Thank you very much, Dr. Aliba, for giving me this opportunity to speak out to the viewers of the Uganda Catholic Television. Dear viewers, responsible parenting is a very important topic that every parent should pay attention to. First, responsible parenting is something that has to be planned for. You plan for it before marriage, and even when you get into marriage, it's a continuous process. But the planning begins even before you enter into marriage. Like you begin having thoughts of like how many children you have, how to raise them up, and how best actually, not just how to raise them, how best to raise them up. This entails a lot. Like you have to think of the number of children to bear, how to feed them, how to care for them, which kind of education to give them, what kind of relationships to build, to establish for them, so that they are brought up in an integral way. Bearing in mind that the mission of the Catholic Church is integral development for of the human person. Integral development of the human person. So when planning for responsible parenthood, this has to be at the back of our minds. We as parents or as Catholics, when we are talking about responsible parenting, me as a woman, as a mother, I may not say it's only the mother or the father that has to bear this in mind. It is for all of us, the citizens of Uganda, the people of God. As a woman, I know we are created in a special way. We are naturally endowed with special gifts or elements that enable us to nurture, to bring life into force, nurture, care for this life into responsible adults. Bearing life or bringing new life into the world is not something easy. It takes a sacrifice. A woman has to bear a lot. Remember that it is the woman who conceives and bears the pregnancy for 9 months. So the responsible parenthood has to be carefully planned. The planning is not only by the woman, by the mother, but together with the husband and other members of the community, to give support, to ensure that the children we bear are well prepared to become responsible citizens.
Yeah, responsible citizens for the children.
Yes.
Yes, Immaculate. How do you feel belonging to the Aliba's family?
I feel blessed and lucky, I must say, because this is one of the families I think I thank God anyway, because I don't think I could fit in any other family except the Aliba's family, because the education they have given us is the best. We are all in good schools, because I think they love us, and it's not like I think, but they do love us, because they show it to us. in the way they treat us at home, the way they make sure we have everything we need, the way they make sure if any, call them circumstance that comes in there and we have everything we need, then the treatment, the care, the love, everything they have given us.
Yeah, very good. Because, Mommy, as you said, we have to plan for the family.
Yes.
We are the two people to make the family be
what it is.
Mm. But there are other, our fellow viewers, there are people who have not given time to the family. What would you like to advise, especially as the husbands?
Like I have already said, that responsible parenthood has to be planned together with husband and wife. Before marriage, like I say, you identify each other and say, you'll be my wife, you'll be my husband. The discussion should continue every time you interact. This should be one of the topics to be discussed. And the plans keep on going. Like you plan when to have the firstborn or the first child in your life as the husband and wife. How you plan, what you plan for this child to bear, to conceive, to protect, to care for the mother who is expecting, to plan for the hospital cares, because you know, in responsible parenting, a mother has to deliver in a dignified health unit. We cannot say that everyone will be in a first-class health unit, but something modest to welcome this new life, newborn baby, in a modest way.
So you say planning together.
Yes, planning together and timely planning. We need to welcome our children right at the time of conception, that we even have to plan for it. Like you should know, the husband has to take responsibility to know the timing. Because as well as the mother, the wife. It's unfortunate that some of us, the women, give surprises to our husbands and maybe to those around us. Someone may even confirm, like after 2 months. Yeah, I think now I have conceived, but yet the first, second, and third month are critical in proper child upbringing. Because like some writers will tell you, this is a critical period during the time of pregnancy when you have to sacrifice a lot. Like for some of the women who take alcohol, you are not supposed to test, because it is the fetus growing inside, the formation, the cell formation to make the child. We really need to be very careful, because you don't know at what time the brain is being formed, at what time what is being formed, that the alcohol content may affect.
Yeah, so fellow husbands, you
Yes.
hear the point of my wife. My wife says, let's plan together, especially in terms of childbearing. Now, this calls for your presence in the family.
Yes.
As a husband, you have to be present. If you are not present in the family, you will not plan together. So if you have to plan together, you be present in your family. And again, also, raising a child, I think there is a relationship between, you know, how a child is being raised with the presence of the two, either one member or two members, the husband or the, you know, sometimes we give our, you know, we call them maids or, you know, to raise our children where we are not. And the children are more with the maids, you know. There's that giving of time, one or both of the parents. How do you look at that, Mami?
Yes, the issue of our presence as the biological parents is very critical and very important in balancing the psychological growth of the child. And you know, we have both children, children of both sexes, the female and the male. The girl child in these critical stages of life are much more attracted to their fathers. So this means a father has to be present most of the time, although in many instances you find the husband's always missing at home. As I said, planning and making sure that we move together in all stages. During that stage of pregnancy, as the child is growing, the demand will be there. Even for the father to be close to the mother, so that the child connects, has feelings of the presence of the father.
Yeah. The child has the feeling of the presence of the father and of the mother.
Yes.
But also, Immaculate, we always tell you to keep together as children, especially you who are grown up and you look after the young ones. What is your experience about parenting the young ones?
I must say, parenting the young ones is not an easy job. I thank my parents so much because they really parented us. Apparently, we have 2 young ones, I can say. But
who and who?
Josephine and Elizabeth. So managing those 2 girls is something very hard.
But also interesting.
But interesting because they are funny to be with, but then they are very hard to control. There is when you will want them to do something for you because you're also engaged in other activities. But then they will ask you some question that will be so hard to answer, but then you also have to answer it and make sure that as you answer, it doesn't affect them and they should do what you want them to do. So that means managing them is really something hard.
So parenthood is not only husband and wife parenting children, but also children parenting children.
Because this is how they learn. You train as a mother, as parents, we have a responsibility of forming those who have brought into life. So the older children are nurtured to form the young ones. And in the African context, we train by practice.
Yes.
Our training is practical.
Viewers, we have to go for a break. Keep viewing Uganda Catholic Television, good news for all. We shall come back now. We look at how to choose the best education for the children and how to bring the children in a very strong strong Catholic foundation in bringing them into our religion. You may be Anglican, you may be Muslim, but you'd like to bring children into your religious foundation. So when we come back, we shall discuss that. Thank you for keeping on Uganda Catholic Television. Good news for all. Welcome back from our commercial break, and thank you for loving Uganda Catholic Television. Good news for all. We are still on the same topic of responsible parenting, and we are saying that if you want to be a responsible parent, ensure that your family is based on prayer. God first. In the family, God first. The rest can come later, but God first. And especially us, the husbands, you know, sometimes we have no time. But having no time for God is actually having no time for yourself and for your family. God first. Every family, God first. How do you do it, Mommy? I see you insisting on this so much.
Yes, prayer is important because they say the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. And actually in the Catholic Church, that's why the married are encouraged to invite Jesus in a special way to be a midst. They are to be in between. They say husband and wife, whoever has to be in the middle should be Jesus first, and then the rest will follow.
So I think this is why we have done that. The child is not in the middle of us. The child is the other side, because in the middle of us is Jesus.
Surely.
Yeah, the middle between me and my wife is Jesus.
Yes.
So the child, between you and the child, there is Jesus. Okay.
So the children also should be introduced to the faith, the Catholic faith, through baptism. You don't have some parents take long. You find a child being brought for baptism at the age of 5. And yet we know that all of us are born with the original sin. And what takes it away is baptism. And then the child becomes a child of God and of the church, the Catholic Church. So the moment the child is baptized, that one is already offered to God in a special way, and then is helped to learn the faith, the prayers, and the rest that the church teaches and requires us to know.
Yeah. What have you learned from us in terms of the Catholic faith, in terms of our faith, you as our child immaculate?
What I have learned from my parents, first is God. Everything we do is God. You know, it is quite disturbing for us children, mostly those parents who provide their children with a lot of freedom, mostly giving them the technology tools, I mean phones, I mean television here and there. So when time for prayer comes, it is hard for the children to get off their television, the phone. So calling them is also some kind of hassle. But then, why do we have to give the children this liberty to a phone than to God first? So if it is time for prayer, the child will I think with talking with friends, watching their best shows, so getting them off that is something hard. But I thank God for our family. At least there is a way mommy manages us. When it is time for prayer, it is time for prayer. Phones away, all the radios in the house, all the televisions off completely, so that we give God time. And it doesn't take long, as people usually think that if we start praying, then it will have to take long, then I'll find my friends asleep, then I'll find this. But if you cooperate, then, as in, if God wasn't there for your family, then would you have the television? Would you have your parents? Possibly. Would you have everything you have? So,
as our life as husband and wife touched you at school, what did you at school to emulate us as a father and mother?
So at this moment, I would speak for the Aliba family, because at school, my sister and I, fortunately,
who is your sister?
Martha at Tugonza. We are in the same class, same dorm, same everything. So people ask us, why do you handle your lives like, okay, most people I think that we all have to become nuns at home. We all have to be priests. Like our brother is in a seminary, Chitavi Seminary Junior, Emmanuel. So people be like, you're too holy, you handle yourselves in that kind of life of, you don't associate with the secular music, you don't associate with those groups. The children have many groups at school, so most of them I'm not in them, but it's not like...
What do you do in the church?
In the church, apparently I do choir, I'm in the Legion of Mary. There are many other, we call them...
I was told when I came for visitation that you had conducted the previous Sunday. Is that
yeah, I do conduct when it comes to music. The main thing I go for is conducting, and but I don't do the musical instruments. Those ones failed. Then I also sing alto for the choir at school, and most people there at least have tried to, actually, if you want to know where I am, or if you want to know who is Mary Immaculate at school, they will tell you she's the conductor of the Marian choir. Possibly people think I am the chairperson, but I'm not. Just this.
Yeah, Mommy, we went through a very hard time of COVID. And very many families faced challenges.
Yes.
What did you learn as a mother during COVID?
Yes, the time of COVID was quite challenging, especially the total lockdown, where every family had to protect their children, every member of the family within the confines of that family, even maybe stretching beyond like 10 meters away from the home could cause something, would be questioned. So as you know, children are not easy to keep indoors. But as a mother, a Catholic mother, for us, what we did was my children had been taught rosaries. In their primary school, Mother Claudia Nasaran Primary School in Hoima. It's a very good school of the Cistercian Sisters of Charity. And all our children have gone through that school. Because for us, the Catholic foundation is very important. If we are giving these Catholic values in our home, then we look for schools where they can be promoted. So the school builds from where we have reached.
So that is why you insisted that we have to take our children from Hoima. We drive about 6 or 7 hours to to Mary Hill.
Yes.
Then the young man, Emmanuel
Kitabi
Kiiza
Seminary.
Jr. will go to Kitabi Seminary.
Yes.
About 7 hours drive.
Yeah, whether he becomes a priest or not, but the foundation, the formation, the values he's acquiring on top of the academic education is very important for us as a family. So during the COVID time, our children had been taught the rosaries. So we encouraged them to make the rosaries. And actually, I also learned to make rosaries during that time of COVID.
And I was your promoter. I used to come with rosaries and sell them, those that are made by my family. I was a PR, I think, public relations officer.
And imagine being taught by my own children. And one of the second last, Elizabeth, she was very teacher. She could even easily identify here is a mistake. So we taught, we said we kept them, but also we identified a priest who often came and kept us online.
Father Paul Kalemere, the spiritual director of the seminary.
Spiritual director.
So he became our family spiritual director. We go for confession. We go. He comes every Sunday for
Mass.
Mass. So we do not lose. What did you learn in COVID, Immaculate?
A lot of things, I must say, especially being so busy and all. But then one thing I learned: most families used to have online mass, but at least we didn't have that online mass anywhere, anyhow. If it was a Sunday, 9 a.m. was mass time. So whatever time it will take, 9 a.m. is mass time where Father will come at home, say mass. We, the family, we are 7. We were the choir, we were the servers, we were the everything you must think of. So
Elizabeth could take a reading,
P3 then.
By then she was around 8.
Yeah, so
8 years.
So I would sing tenor, Junior would try to sing bass. We had the soprano. Who were the soprano people? Thank you, Mommy and
Elizabeth.
Then alto.
Then
Martha also.
Then alto. With me and the last born,
and Josephine. So we would have the entire choir at home singing in all voices. So during COVID.
In fact, COVID gave us a good lessons for us as Catholic parents, that it made us to go back into reflecting on the family as the first church.
The domestic church.
Yes, domestic church. And it made me really to see that a mother is the first teacher, is the first catechist. Imagine I would ask myself, wonder, for parents who do not know the prayers by heart, how they managed the situation, and yet it called for everybody to read, to say prayers, because everyone was worried, and some parents even were forced to run away, to distance themselves from the church, because they thought the Catholic Church was not doing well, but just because of maybe you knew little, the faith was not well grounded.
Yes, I remember. I think on a certain Thursday,
yes,
Bishop Vincent Kirabo, the Bishop of Hoima, came to the cathedral and found us mopping the cathedral. You say about that. You were there.
We were actually. Daddy thought of something like, let's go do charity. But the charity he thought about was cleaning the cathedral. So we least expected the bishop to be there or many people to be there. So we went after cleaning. We got a blessing from him, and I must say it was something good.
And
it was not expected at all.
It was something we thought of because the churches had been abandoned. But we said, who will take care a lot of dust, a lot of cobwebs, and what you can think of in an abandoned house of God. So we felt that this is a sacrifice we could make, but also to teach the young ones that where people cannot do, then for us as a family is something we ought to do.
Yes.
Talking about that, I remember we animated a wedding.
Yes.
During the COVID time. I don't remember the exact people we sang for, but it
was the head teacher.
It was the head teacher,
of Mandela's,
the principal of Mandela Secondary
Schools.
Yes.
So it was wedding.
Mr. Nzigu Francis.
Mr. Nzigu Francis.
And
so we were
wife.
the choir.
Yes.
The family was the choir of a wedding of Nzigu.
During the lockdown.
And there was also, when the lockdown was getting over, I think we animated the reopening of a hotel of Glory Summit.
Yes.
Yes, we went as a family and animated the Glory Summit Hotel. So that is what transpired during COVID for us. We felt more of a domestic church. A church, we felt
strengthening a domestic church.
Strengthening the domestic
and
church.
During that time, we had to also give our children more formation in other areas, not only in prayer life, but also domestic work. We had a lot of interaction. There are a number of topics we could discuss with them, and engaging them also to give us their views about their experience. Actually, one of my, Emmanuel Kiiza Jr., was telling me in one of his examinations, he wrote his experience during the lockdown, the COVID, because he does literature and Latin. So he had a lot to tell, and he wrote a story out of it, and which he told me the teacher was very much impressed as he was marking. These children were trained to read apart from the Bible, religious books, but also other documents, especially the news. We could task them to listen, to read, because we needed, at that time, we needed to keep informed of what would be next.
Yeah, imagine,
Yes.
I think on some Saturdays would go for adoration in the cathedral with Father Francis Makumbi exposing the Blessed Sacrament.
Yes.
How did you feel about that?
I felt blessed, I must repeat this, was having parents like them. It's really a blessing. A blessing in disguise is the usual word nowadays. Because every Saturday time dedicated to God, was it from midday, then at 1 would have Mass after the adoration. We would have some time with God, silence and all. It really made us grow stronger in the faith that we were taught.
You can imagine, viewers, I'm almost saying COVID time was almost a blessing for us to come together as family members. We all left our jobs, we went back home, and we came together. Now, that is aside, let's look at the education. Because education matters a lot. The choice of schools for your children. How do you choose schools for your children? Because the best education, the best gift you can give to your child is the gift of excellent education. I don't know, Nani, you were once a head teacher of a secondary school. That was St. Cyprian Secondary School, Butema. So, the value of education.
Yes. Education is very important. It's one of the most important aspects in life. because it opens many doors for us, for our children. And it's not just mere education, but a well thought out education, quality education, holistic education, I would say, as the Catholic Church promotes. So the holistic education does not have to mainly be academic, too much academic oriented, but also the social life, the physical well-being, helping the child to really be educated, because they say there is a difference between being learned and being educated.
Immaculate, what
Yes.
do you say? Do you have any comment about the two schools you have gone through? You
Yes.
mentioned the schools also.
The school for primary and kindergarten, I was in Mother Claudia Nasaran Primary School in Hoima, headed by the Citizenship Sisters of Charity. And currently I'm in Mary Hill High School, Mbarara, headed by the Daughters of Mary and Joseph. All these schools are headed by nuns. And the experience there is, I must say, good, because we always now, currently every morning, we have Mass from 7 to 7:30, then adoration on Wednesdays, that is from 5:30 to 6:30. Then there are many other events that happen now, like a school's day. We always have Mass first, then we can continue with events. All those Catholic holidays, they make sure they make the holiday a holiday, if at all it is Catholic, and they also celebrate them accordingly. Always have Mass, then if there were some events of the day, then that means you continue, but having God first in everything. So this helps us as children to grow firm in our faith. And most times, I must say, parents, you need to do something big, because I am in a school with about 1,500 girls, but 50% of them are the ones that are really dedicated to their religions. Then the Catholics, there are some who don't want to go for Mass, they don't want to go for adoration, they want nothing. So in short, even Sundays, they don't want to pray, but because it's a must, you have to go. But then some say during holidays, they don't have time to go for church, they don't have time to, but then this is not good parenting, because you have to make the children realize the hand of God in their growing.
Yeah. As a mother, that faith being, because we are Catholics, we ensure that our children go through the best schools in terms of our faith.
Yes.
And you are serious about that, man.
Yes. Sometimes us parents are quick to say, this school produces only first grades, so my child has to be there, whether secular or whether it is Catholic founded or not. But as a mother, I would advise, I would encourage that if you are a Catholic family, follow the trend and give the firm foundation to the child.
What last word do you have for the children out there, Immaculate?
So for my fellow children, little ones, if your parents are these parents of they can't let you go to church, then be the one from the schools you're in, mostly those who in Catholic schools and then Anglican, Muslim, be the ones to encourage your parents. Don't look on and see them. Just encourage them through the little things you do. They will pick up.
So parenthood should be the children parenting us also.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what I've learned today. The children parenting us. Mommy, what do you have for the women there?
Yes, the fellow mothers out there. I always say that a mother is a pillar in a family, in a home. A mother is an administrator. So you have to be in between the husband and the children to ensure that everything goes on well. So you take lead. If it's time for prayer, it is prayer. A selection of schools, determine the schools, but carefully in order to safeguard our faith.
In order to safeguard our faith, fellow viewers and lovers of Uganda Catholic Television, good news for all. I want to thank you for keeping Uganda Catholic Television on and for watching. This is our best instrument where we spread our faith. So for the next week we shall come again with the role of a woman, the role of a Catholic woman in the family. Because we are what we are because of the role of a Catholic woman. And that topic will be presented by none other than Mrs. here. So we want to see the role of a woman, a Catholic woman, coming out very well, not only in family, but also in society. Thank you for viewing Uganda Catholic Television. Good news for all.